Clark bring us in today?
Oh shit. So welcome to another episode of Those Other Guys. I don't even know what episode this is. Is it 8?
8.
Episode 8. Just me and Dom. Might want to
So that's 2 months.
Yeah. 2 months. Yeah. 8 weeks.
2 months together.
Yep. 8 weeks. We're halfway through a cycle. Halfway through a cycle. Yeah, so
2
coming
months,
to you live, not
100
live,
100 subscribers on
Which is
YouTube.
dope.
We're over now. I think we're cumulatively like over 2,500 views across
all the videos.
across podcast platforms. So that's not counting YouTube views.
Okay.
But yeah.
No, thank you all for tuning in all the time. It's kind of shocking, all the people that will come up to me and tell me that they've been listening. It's pretty dope.
I've had nobody do that.
Well, yeah, you don't go to any gym like that anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Lifetime, they don't
No.
want to tell you that they've been listening to you.
No.
But how's training going?
Good. I feel good.
I know. All the videos and pictures you're posting,
strong.
you look dope.
I feel strong. I feel like my diet's pretty good. So like this health phase I'm doing, you have to be like gluten-free, low FODMAP, so like foods that don't give you trouble digesting, just to ease stress on the body. Because ideally, like in a health phase, you want to reduce stressors as much as possible. So it's like, that's why I'm only training 4 days a week. That's why I'm only doing one leg day a week.
Do you do cardio right now?
No, you're not supposed to, because it's just extra stress.
I've been thinking about that lately, about a lot of people telling me their rest days, they still do cardio. And I'm wondering, like, is that even a rest day?
Well, like, what's the cardio? Is it just walking, or is it just is
Right,
it actually
right.
like getting calorie per minute pretty high?
I want to know. Yeah.
So like if for me, when I consider cardio, like I'm pushing it, So
Right.
I'm not supposed
Trying
to be
to
doing
get-
that right now.
Trying to get a certain amount of calories in a certain amount of time.
So, but I get blood work done Monday to see if I can like put a stop to the supplement regimen, bring up a little bit of the training. Matt Cusano, who's helping me with everything, he told me, well, we got your digestion, but one thing we haven't talked about is your stress management. So we should probably work on that next. And I think last month he told me, he was like, Dom, I have a goal for you. And I was like, okay. He goes, no new clients in June. I said, you're fucking crazy.
Right.
So,
He must not know you.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Because if like my cortisol comes back pretty good, then that means we did a good job like with the stress management. And we probably did that just through like cleaning up my diet. Not cleaning up my diet, but like getting my digestion better.
Right. Your diet's always clean.
Yeah. Right now it's like, so like I just have macros that I stay in. And the way I've been eating is like all my carbs are pre and post workout. And then throughout the day is just all like meat, fattier meat with, and if I have carbs, it's fruit.
I love that approach.
I just feel great.
I love that approach, man.
I don't feel distended. I don't feel anything.
I swear there's something to like thinking about how we ate evolutionarily, right? Because humans have been around for so long. Food in this abundance and this availability has not been around for this long.
Yeah.
Right? Like 100 years maybe? Like did Romans, I don't know if the Romans had food like this, right? I don't think they had supermarkets, right? They had markets, but I don't think they had like, couldn't go to like a spot like Kroger, right? Any day of the week and get all these boxed foods that were manufactured for you to like them, right? Like that, it's crazy where the food industry is right now because it's an industry. It's a for-profit industry. And like all those colorful boxes and stuff is just not food that we ever had before.
Yeah.
So we don't know how to like instinctually eat it. We just eat it until we're uncomfortable. Like cereal, I used to have a cereal bowl that was a salad mixing bowl. That was my cereal bowl.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. That's the only way to do cereal.
It is
my way.
half a box at a
Yeah,
time.
Yep. And I would mix cereals.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite cereal?
Honey Bunches of Oats.
Honey Bunches of Oats.
I
That's
know.
a good one.
It is a
That
good one. It's a sleeper. It's not
All right,
nothing special.
give me favorite like sugary one, and then favorite like I don't know, like
Cinnamon
what I
Toast
mean?
Crunch
Okay.
and Honey
And
Bunches
Honey
of
Bunch
Oats.
of Oats.
That was my mixture too.
Those two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the milk at the end of those two, knock you. Oh my god, punch you in the face, dude.
I like Oops berries, the
All
Captain
berries?
Crunch. Yeah, and then the Lucky Charms are mine.
Lucky Charms are dope.
Yeah, I love Lucky Charms.
I like Raisin Bran.
Me too,
Dude. I like Raisin Bran a lot.
Everyone hates on it.
I know, but
It's raisins.
yeah, and
Dina calls raisins little old men because they're like all wrinkly.
all wrinkly. They are though. They really are. I remember, what was it, Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Rob Lowe, he talks about it. He's got candy, and then he pulls out raisins, and he's like, nature's candy. Because they are so sweet.
They're
though.
good.
Yeah, I love them.
You like dried fruit?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I actually don't like bananas, but I like dried bananas or dehydrated bananas.
Like the slithers
yeah,
of them?
yeah, the
those are
chips
good.
or whatever. Those are good.
I like dried fruit. But like some dried fruit that you buy is fucked up because it's like sweetened. Like they add sugar to it. So like I always tell people if they're eating dried fruit to get the unsweetened packets of it because that's
just naturally dried out.
it's just whatever the fruit was.
Right.
It's just dried out
Yeah. No added sugar.
to fruit.
Yeah. Right. Which is hilarious. But I love when people see like no added sugar. They're like, oh, there's no sugar. Like, no added sugar. That shit has a lot of sugar already. But
You know what's good is like labels. I don't know if you've noticed. Everyone probably has noticed now, but this was new in 2020. The included added sugars. They made that a thing where legally you had to have that on here.
that's good.
Yeah. Did you notice like your Monster now doesn't say 0 calories, it says 10
Okay.
because they reduced the guideline of like the plus or minus that you could be to report calories as 0.
Nice.
So there really was calories in Monsters this whole time.
How are you? Yeah, who would have thunk it? You're putting a fucking thing in your body. Like, oh no, there's just no calories.
Water.
Yeah.
It's the only thing.
Yeah, it's literally the only thing. It's the only thing technically too, that doesn't break a fast. Like if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, if you really want to hit a fast, you should only have water during that time.
Yeah.
Because a true fast is your body not metabolizing anything. So if you have black coffee, it has to metabolize the caffeine in that coffee. So you're technically waking up the enzymes.
Some things people don't realize about coffee is the oils from the beans.
Yeah, well, that's 100%. It's funny because
That's why coffee has a calorie count.
yes,
And people think black coffee is 0 calories.
Yeah,
I mean, it's minuscule. It's not going to make or break your diet.
100%.
But it's there.
There's still something there.
That's why I could break a fast.
Right, and because the true fast is to not wake up the enzymes, is to give the enzymes like the time to chill. Apparently, in
Like
the
your
gut.
digestive
Correct.
enzymes.
Yeah. So that when you do put something in, it's only for that 8-hour window or 9-hour window, and then they get to do their job, and then the rest of the time because. Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who's always on Rogan, she was talking about they have a circadian rhythm too. And they have a window, it's about like 12 hours, which is obviously arbitrary, but it's like a 12-hour window that anything after that, they have to actually tap into proteins to work, obviously. So they were gaining minuscule, but still they were gaining muscle mass back if they kept it within a 12-hour eating window.
Wow.
Yeah. And so...
Without having to break down like the body's own stuff.
Without changing anything about the diet. Just
doing it in a 12-hour window.
correct. Yeah. But when she does studies, she's doing them on people who are like her. She's doing them on healthy people. I don't think she does any type of studies on like just the random public.
Yeah.
You know, her studies are pretty specific and they're not like double blind, like gold standard studies. They're just like, let's test this. Right, because I forget what kind of doctor she is, but she's like a research doctor. I don't think she's like MD.
Oh,
So,
it's like
yeah.
PhD.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool shit though with diet coming out, and it really.
I think there's a lot of
back.
cool like approaches.
Well, yeah, the coolest ones to me go back evolutionarily.
Dude, I'm telling you, I feel great eating just meat, fruit, and like meat and fruit are probably 80% of my diet right now.
Yeah.
And it's red meat only.
You already know how I feel about that. Yeah.
Like digestively, so I think that's where like I think where people like get this whole notion of red meat is hard on your digestion is because they overconsume it. They don't keep it within like the protein amount you need a day, right? So like with this health phase diet approach, you're supposed to keep protein on the lower end because protein is one of the harder ones to digest. So we want my digestive system to have that break, to not have to try to work constantly like that. So when I eat my red meat, I'm still only eating like 180, 200 grams of protein a day. That's total. So counting whatever comes from the carbs I eat, counting whatever comes from the whatever other sources I eat. So it's like not that much meat every day, but it still just feels really good.
Yeah. I always think, because like I think there's obviously validity to that, but I was eating ridiculous amounts of meat a day, and I didn't really have any problem digesting it, because how many people only eat meat?
Not that many.
Right. Because when you go to a barbecue and there's meat, you're also eating the baked potato, the French fries, the bun with the burger. You know what I mean? It's all this other shit with the meat too. So if you like cut that back and you replace all those calories with meat, I swear to God, there's like you don't feel anything. You feel so lean in the morning. And I think part of that though is like the water retention with carbs.
Yeah.
Right. Just with glycogen alone.
You just feel tighter.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the carnivore like diarrhea, like that's just your body flushing out all this water because you don't have any glycogen to hold on to it. So you're just dropping weight so fucking fast. It's crazy. And it's just water, literally just water. But I mean, it's still a way to lose weight if that's your only goal, you know. And I hate that goal.
I had a consult with a guy yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, Thursday. And he told me he's trying carnivore keto. And I was a little confused by that.
It's like meat and berries?
No, it's just meat. It's just meat. It's a high fat carnivore approach, but
so yeah, like cheese too.
no, I think the issue with that is if you can't say you're doing keto and have a really high protein diet.
Yeah.
Because protein eventually becomes glucose and takes you right out of ketosis if your protein intake's too high. So
what's
like
that, gluconeogenesis?
Yeah. So like you can't. So like to say you're a carnivore who follows keto, no, you're a guy who follows high protein and high fat.
Right.
That's what your diet is.
That's what Easy does.
Yeah, but I think people think carnivore is keto.
Right, and
it's not.
Not even close.
It's not even close because you're eating 200-300 grams of protein a day, and then your fats are super high too, depending on how you do your carnivore.
Right.
You could do strips, you could do ribeyes, you could do fillets, you could do top sirloin,
or even eggs. Eggs count as carnivore. Yeah.
So I got a jiu-jitsu guy. He's on a carnivore diet, and we're doing strips. We're doing New York strips, flank steak, and ghee butter.
Nice.
And that's all he eats throughout the day. Berries right before training and right after training, and that's it.
I was gonna say there's a guy, Zach Bitter, who does ultra marathons, and he stays carnivore. I don't think he does keto. I think he just does carnivore all year. But then right before races, ultra marathons, he carbs the fuck up because his body can metabolically change from glucose to fat burning like that. Because he's just
so adapted.
Yeah, because he does carnivore the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then only before that does he start carb loading.
Yeah. So like right before he goes to practice or sessions or whatever, he has his carbs.
Is fructose broken down slower than like just regular like dextrose or glucose?
Fructose is broken down a little differently because it goes through its own glucose transporter, GLUT5, and then that when we have fructose, usually it's like an upper we only have so much fructose, the enzyme that helps break it down, and there's like an upper threshold like every day you can take in.
Oh wow.
And it's about 50 grams of pure fructose a day. You shouldn't go over that. But if you take a cup of strawberries is like probably 20 grams of carbs, but 3 of those grams are actually fructose. So
really?
Yeah. So
what's the majority in fruit then? Just regular dextrose?
Glucose, galactose, other sugars, not just fructose.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where like you have to look at like a fruit chart, and you can see the amount of fructose in fruits, right? Dates are the highest. Dates have the highest amount of fructose. Like you shouldn't be pounding dates all day long because you'll hit that 50 grams pretty fast. But that's where the issue with high fructose corn syrup came. With all these processed foods, all these things having high fructose corn syrup, you were hitting your 50-gram threshold within a meal, 2 meals. Then at that point, your body is having difficulty break down that fructose, and it's going to favor storage at that point. And how does it favor storage? It favors storage in fatty acids and
adipose
tissue. So
crazy.
And that's where like high fructose corn syrup was like one of the worst things that ever came about for our food industry, by far. And now you're seeing the switch: no high fructose, no high fructose.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is good.
I remember hearing when trans fats were made illegal.
Your body physically cannot break those down.
Right. And that's what like every fast food restaurant was
loaded with
chips, potato chips. That's what they were using before they like made a switch to like sunflower oil or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing about that in like 2015, and they gave all fast food restaurants quietly until 2018 to make the switch.
3 years?
Yeah. After finding out how bad they were.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll give you 3 years. You can still keep poisoning and killing people for 3 years. How fucking ridiculous is that?
Dude, they don't care about our health.
No, they don't. And then how about the case against sugar? Have you ever heard that story?
No.
Where there were 3 Harvard scientists that were paid off to say that sugar wasn't as bad as fat. Like literally, it's documented. They know that it was the equivalent of what would be like $200,000 today, but it was in the 1950s because it was right after World War II, and the Germans were showing studies about fat being good. So we were like, we have to do the opposite. Right? Because these people are so bad. So we have to try to find out the opposite. So we were trying to prove that they were wrong in everything. So they went off and even paid Harvard scientists to say that sugar.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then that's when the low fat came about.
The low fat approach.
Yeah. And then look at how crazy like we've gotten with obesity since then. The low fat approach. Because sugar is not satiating.
No, it's the processed sugar that's the really bad.
Right.
I think there's a good graph you could look up that shows like when the sugar was introduced like that, like high processed, and its correlation to obesity rise.
Did you know like how doctors used to have to test for diabetes?
No.
They would have their helper drink the pee because if it was too sweet, they would guess at it.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes, dude. So think about how many cases of diabetes went undiagnosed too back then.
Yeah.
Right? Because I there's a guy, he's kind of like foo-foo. You know, a lot of people kind of write him off, especially like BioLane fucking hates him. Seriously, they've had like a debate and everything. Gary Tobbs is his name. And because he's just a journalist, he's an investigative journalist. He has no like health credentials or anything. And he found a correlation between like diabetes when they started refining sugar from sugar beets rather than sugar cane, because the sugar beets were so much easier to make and we could refine more.
It was easier for more profit.
So it's basically like high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
So there was a big correlation when that started to like diabetes rates going up and just like obesity going up.
Man.
But I mean, think about it, because if you can drink 2 Mountain Dews back to back and not be full, but the amount of sugar in each one it's like almost enough calories for a meal, right?
It's like 75 grams of sugar.
Exactly. So like just on sugar alone, that's enough calories for like half of a meal, but that's 2 liquid like calories. And I hate the phrase empty calories because they're not empty, but they just don't fill you up. So it's like wasteful calories. You're just putting that in there. So now you talk about only having the ability or the threshold to hit this before we start storing. So now you've just downed that plus a meal, right?
Yeah,
so
there's no that Mountain
fucking way your body can process that. And then people will look at skinny people that can do that and be like, oh, I wish they just have a fast metabolism. But if that person tries gaining weight, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? So evolutionarily, if he couldn't eat in 4 days because we failed at hunts every day since then, he was fucked. My metabolism, where I gain weight hard or easily, would have been the better metabolism back then. So we've allowed society to fuck up our thought process on like a faster metabolism. And that pisses me off so bad because people want to eat donuts and shit. Like, why would you want to eat donuts like every day?
Like get away with eating? Yeah.
And like, they're just not good for you. The people that can do that on their insides are fucked up. They got all that brown fat around their fucking organs. They're not healthy.
Yeah.
But they have abs in the summer or something because they like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like, we're such a fucked up like society. And we're making it on the wrong shit so bad. It's crazy. I don't know how would you stop that? How would you tell somebody that like, no, you gaining weight is actually a good thing. You just have to strategize differently.
That's hard.
They don't want to hear that.
And then that takes away like all that instant gratification. They don't want to hear that because then that means they have to do work.
Yep.
Dude, COVID made us the laziest people ever.
I believe it. I'm starting to see it.
Like work-wise, get your fucking groceries delivered to your front door. Like, it's just crazy. Like the what the lockdowns pandemic caused to our population now is too much convenience where they don't even have to leave their house to get stuff at this point because they need to stay safe. Right.
Whole industries were built off of that.
Dude, people built like companies like Shipped. Like all these companies popped out of nowhere or were so minuscule and like maybe we're helping the elderly population to all of a sudden now servicing 80% of America.
Right.
Like, dude, I pulled up to Kroger yesterday and this lady was in her car and the guy was the Kroger worker was putting groceries in her trunk of her car. Because she couldn't look. I get it. You got kids, maybe something like that.
Right.
But for the majority of people, you don't got shit to do. You can go to the grocery store.
Dude, I was telling you about curbside service.
It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, where I work, I see people pull up, place their order, and let us bring it out to them, rather than them come in, just shop with the person, pay for it, and leave.
I'm guilty of sitting at Starbucks, ordering a mobile fucking order, getting up and going and grabbing it instead of just waiting in line and going to get it.
Yeah. At least you still had to do something, right? There's people now that wait in their car, do that, and make me bring it to them.
Uber Eats will deliver you Starbucks to your house now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like I just think it's getting ridiculous. Like how, and then workers are the hardest thing to come by, right? They want, so a big thing that's going to happen, right? With this whole shift, like, in the market, we're going to have Q2 announcements July 1st. If Q2 announcements are in another decline versus Q1, we are technically by definition in a recession. So a recession by definition is 2 consecutive quarters at a loss.
Okay.
If we have that happen, slowly you're going to see that. It's kind of inevitable at this point, right? Where interest rates are headed, where things are headed. You're going to see those people who were super lazy about everything get eaten alive by this because all of a sudden now, all these people that want paid vacations and I want to take a week off with not using my PTO, they're getting everything they're asking for right now. But when you see this huge market shift and market correction and all these jobs start to go, those people are going to be replaced with better talent at a cheaper price because those people want to work.
Right.
And that's a big thing, like in recession setups for businesses, is good talent you can get for cheap. So why are you going to keep the guy that wants to only work from home? I want to work remote. I want every vacation day. I want every federal holiday off, because they're getting that. They're asking for it and they're getting it now because a lot of people aren't working right now still. But once this market shift happens, you're going to see like the really good employee who doesn't have a job right now get hired, and that guy's going to be gone. And I think a lot of that happened just because of that luxury of all that we allowed, right? We allowed that to happen. No, stay home. We'll do Zoom calls. We'll do that. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like crazy, ridiculous.
Do you think, now this is completely tinfoil hat. This is completely, and you and I like talking about this shit, but do you think something like that, like, it almost seems orchestrated, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Like what you're talking about.
I mean, that is very tinfoil hat.
Right. Because like if you look at like the wealthy in this predicament, the people who are wealthy, their wealth has substantially grown.
Well,
it's almost like the middle class is they're trying to like get rid of that, right? If you were to look at it as something
like,
being orchestrated, it looks like
it would look like let's
two classes,
yeah,
upper and lower,
yeah,
right? Because their wealth is growing, and it looks like the middle class is disappearing. You're either getting moved up or you're moving down,
yeah,
right? So it just
I don't even think they're trying to target the lower class. I think if I looked at it that kind of way, I think it would just be the lower class is the lower class, right? It's hard to affect them at this point. The lower class has a better chance moving up than the middle class does right now because the middle class has so much comfort right now. The lower class can use this as an opportunity to get up. The middle class is at this point where they're so comfortable with their 9 to 5 and everything right now that when things like that happen, it's hard for them to adapt and change.
Right.
But for the lower class, they're fighting that uphill battle constantly, right? And they have the potential to replace somebody in the middle class.
Right, but you were just saying too, like that guy is going to get replaced by somebody who doesn't require as much. So their climb is still going to be hard.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So that's what I mean by the middle class kind of disappearing, because now this guy who we used to pay to do this job, we're now paying somebody less to do the same job.
Yeah.
So that job doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
that's an unfortunate thing.
Right. 100%. But that's business.
But that's reality.
That's profit. Yes.
That's how recessions happen. That's how businesses bounce back from recessions. That's how you keep a business alive during a recession, right?
And I'm speaking strictly tinfoil hat conspiracy, like of how, like, I don't necessarily believe that, but just like I like thinking of situation from like this angle.
Yeah, no,
right,
no,
because it does. I could make the argument that it's being orchestrated. You know,
I mean,
what I mean?
you can definitely make that argument. Like if you're really looking into things like how the Fed is involved and so much control, and like how these things are so controlled by small groups of people. Like, yeah, you can go into that.
Man, what is it? It's Fox News, CNN, CNBC,
it's a big five.
MSNBC.
It's five companies.
Of them.
5 companies own all major marketing.
How many
major not media? Sorry.
How many conversations have you had with 5 or more people? It's very easy to get 5 people to be like, let's do this.
Yeah.
It's very easy. I always tell people that you got to think about, if you go up to the top, there's investor groups and everything, but there's probably a main dude that sits at the head of that table, right? It's very easy for him to call you, who sits at the head of this table, to call me, who sits at the head of this table, and is like, hey, why don't we just do this, right?
Yeah.
3 people coming up to a decision is very fucking easy. So yeah, I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that shit like that happens.
Yeah,
you know? I just don't. But then you get into fucking weird territory with people that take conspiracies so crazily.
Oh.
Yeah, so crazily, and we saw that. But I used to kind of be like that conspiracy wise, but after like a couple of them not coming true, don't you just have to kind of give up on them? Don't you just have to be like, all right, maybe I'm wasting some fucking time? Because like I remember the mail-in ballots were supposed to have a watermark that Trump was going to be like, look, surprise, right? Never happened. Trump is still in charge. A lot of people think.
What?
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, but there's just like these conspiracies are so nuts. And then when they don't come true, I don't get how they don't just like go like, why did I waste my time on that? And then not get to the next one.
No, they get into the next one.
I know.
Monkeypox. That's the next one.
Is that a conspiracy though?
It's a conspiracy that it's the next planned demic.
Oh, oh God. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But then people are going to sit here like, oh, well, let's laugh at them when it comes true.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's what
they get off
yeah,
on.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. The one that comes true.
The one that comes true. I told you so.
Yes. And then they're like, they're
like God.
It's like that meme where all the other mathematics are going on in the background. Like, what else is, they're just trying to connect every other dot.
Well, a big one is food right now. Food shortage conspiracies.
Oh.
Like, you'll see, I see it all the time on Facebook, like people posting like random wildfire at chicken farm kills 100,000 chickens.
I've actually seen shit like that.
Shit like that. The most recent one is in Kansas. Did you see like a bunch of cows died?
Yeah.
And people are saying that was an attack on the meat market to get people to eat less meat and to get meat supply down or something like that. And I was like, dude, it was 110 degrees in Kansas for fucking a week.
Yeah.
They're black Angus cows, so they're black.
They're black, right.
And then they were half on cement, half on grass. And they were near the end of their feeding, so they were fat as fuck.
Oh, lovely.
So
Are they
you
gonna
can take
are
that
they
how
gonna
you want. Did
process
they
that
go
meat?
and shoot every single one of them? I don't understand how they
Right.
killed them all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think they're legally allowed to process them.
Okay, if they die like that.
They have to. I think they have to be slaughtered to be
Okay.
processed. Because I think if they die of natural causes, like it could have been disease. It could have been
right.
something like that. So I don't think they're allowed to. I could be wrong, but I don't
That's
think they're
interesting.
allowed to.
Yeah, and then you stay on the tinfoil hat topic. You got Bill Gates has the most farmland in America now.
Yeah.
Owns the most farmland in America, and then he's heavily invested in processed meat, and you need to grow
Vegetables and all that, right?
slop. You need to grow that human dog food to make it into patties, to put it in freezers, to microwave it, to put it on a bun.
To say I'm vegan.
Bro, there's like health aside, right? There's no guilt-free farm. There's no guilt-free farm, because where does guilt start, right? What animals are you okay with protecting and not okay with protecting? Because there's a lot of insects, there's a lot of moles, there's a lot of ground nesting birds that get murdered by combines every year, right? When they're processing those fields. They're so bad that seagulls and vultures follow the combines around the farms because they know animals are going to get chopped up and they just eat them. So that's good for the ecosystem of the bird, but these animals are literally dying in vain, right? They're dying and then not being eaten by humans. But they're being what they're processing is being eaten by humans at a guilt-free. What? Right? So like, I get it. If that's what you want to do, I get it, but don't hide behind that bullshit anymore. Just don't.
Yeah, there's some good studies that show against that environmental cause thing.
Oh, fuck yeah. Cows have been here for millions of years.
I saw a really ironic thing that I don't have anything against vegans, but
I do.
I think I found this really funny. It was a vegan food truck who like was very, I do this for the environment, blah blah blah, and I was like, you're cooking food on a truck that burns petrol.
Yeah, you're not doing this for the environment.
So that truck's on the whole time.
Right.
You're using propane to keep your gas. If you want to play that card, don't use these things.
Right. Just say you're vegan.
Yeah, you don't
Just
have
say
to.
you're vegan.
By all means, do that. But for environmental reasons,
Right.
I think it's a little far stretched now.
Yeah, no, it to me, it seems like it's just a virtue, right? Because it's not optimal.
Well, I mean, look, carnivores are the same way.
Yes. No, don't get me wrong. They are on the
They have
same
their
spectrum.
camps. Dr. Sean Baker, bro.
Dude, he is the I don't even like him
devil.
anymore. Yeah, I don't even like him anymore. But like, they're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And they're both the same thing. They're both elimination diets.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, right? They're both elimination diets. They're both the same diet, right? Because you're eliminating meat. You're eliminating a huge thing. And then over here, you're eliminating everything but meat. They're still on the same fucking spectrum.
Of extreme dieting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of craziness, too. Carnivores put it in their fucking bio. They put it in their name.
Yeah,
they're just as crazy as the vegan war. Bro, though that's the only reason, I shouldn't say only reason, but that's why I like BioLane. Because he's like, shut the fuck up, right? You both have, there's fallacies in both of your shit.
Yeah.
Both anecdotal, both like without study, right? So like, just stop. You know, that's why I'm not a zealot to anything anymore. That's why my diet is bagels and fucking steak, bro. Because like, I just eat with purpose. I eat with the purpose of what I'm trying to do.
I will say, once I cut out a good amount of vegetables I ate, though, my stomach has been a lot better.
But that goes, well, I like the vertical diet approach to that. Is just find which ones don't bloat you.
Yeah.
Find which ones, like, I know cooked spinach I can eat all day.
Yeah.
I don't even fart. You know what I mean? My body processes it so easily.
So one thing that I've been reading, because like now with Blake, like he's not eating salads yet, but like we're starting to give him some stuff just to try it.
Seeing what's up.
Is giving babies oxalates are really bad.
What are those?
Like stuff that's in kale and spinach and all those like squeeze boxes of food that they make for babies is like full of like avocado oil and full of kale and spinach, and I was just reading really heavily on oxalates in those vegetables are not good for development of kids because it can. I don't know how true this is, but I was trying to find some papers, like more papers on it.
Right.
Just the one I found, that's not enough for me.
Right.
I need to find a few.
Yeah.
Was just a reduction in sex hormone.
Ooh.
So like a reduction in testosterone production.
Right.
Like just from those oxalates in those foods having a correlation between the two. It was one paper I found. I need to see more to be fully convinced on it. But it was interesting. It was very interesting to see. And to like a baby or a kid, their digestive system is a lot different than an adult's. They have enzymes that we don't have anymore. They have like lingual lipase is one. Like it's a fat breaking down enzyme
in the mouth,
in your mouth.
Wow.
That disappears as you age.
Right, because now we only
you don't need
have
to break down. You don't need to break down
fats in the mouth.
Well, you don't have to break down breast milk anymore.
Oh, interesting.
Which has triglycerides and fats in it.
Right.
And you don't have to do that anymore as you age. You start eating food.
Gotcha.
And that you don't need to do all the digestion in your mouth anymore. You need to focus it more down here.
Wow.
So that's why like babies and younger kids have things that we don't have anymore. And that's just part of evolution. So like when it comes to the food, it kind of makes sense when I'm reading it now. Like maybe there's things that we should be focusing on for him that are like different. Like one puree that I was reading about was like bison. It was like bison puree.
Don't get me started.
But like,
I'm excited.
Well,
I said that in our chat. Oh
yeah, you did.
and I know for a fact I got judged for it. But I heard that if you put pieces of meat in front of children, they try to gnaw the fuck at it. They like want it. They know. It's like throwing a baby in a pool. Right? They just fucking
right away.
know.
Yeah.
They just fucking know. It's so weird.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, there's like innate things still in children
that disappear as they age.
Yes, and they learn different things on like how society is.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't do that anymore. You don't squat to shit in the corner anymore, dude. We use a toilet, right? But that form is perfect. like that's good shit, dude. But like now you're doing box squats over here on the toilet.
But yeah, so like bison puree is one that I was looking into. Like you cook it, obviously. You slow cook it and then you blend it and the kid eats that.
I'm here for that.
My kid's going to be a machine.
I'm here for that. If you start doing that, I'm here for that.
Well, just think about it.
I don't have to.
Well, okay, listeners, think about it. What do you want your kid to grow on? Vegetables?
No, absolutely not.
I get it. There's all the dude, I think people don't realize how many micronutrients are in meat.
They don't. It's not.
There's more micronutrients in some meat that some vegetables don't even have.
Right.
Some fruits don't even have.
Well, there was that one thing where there's 100 grams of protein and less calories of broccoli than 100 grams of protein in the amount of calories from beef. But beef is this much for 100 grams of protein. Broccoli is like 3 bushels, right? They don't talk about that. So like the volume of what you're eating too. And then they eat this and they're like, I'm bloated. No shit, dude. No shit. There's a book, the Sapiens book, talks about how humans like animals that eat vegetables, right? Like gorillas, right? So we're in the primate family. So a lot of people would be like, well, gorillas are vegan, but gorillas eat for 18 hours a day. They have to just constantly consume food to be as strong as they are, right? And then they have like a mile-long digestive tract. Their digestive tract is fucking long. It's not as short as ours, right? We have one of the shorter digestive tracts in the animal kingdom, and they think that because we have a shorter one, that tissue had to go somewhere, and our brain tissue is the same.
It kind of looks the same as like
not even the same.
Intestine.
It's made of the same tissue. It's made of like the same protein tissue. So they think that cooking meat and digesting it easier allowed for those proteins to go elsewhere. And they think that that is what led to the sudden increase of the brain size doubling, because it was like very quick
Yeah.
that the brain doubled. And like the way the brain doubled, it like doubled over that lizard brain that we have, that animal brain, that hair on the back of your neck shit. You know, like, have you ever watched Wim Hof?
No.
Oh, dude, he is a weirdo. But like he's an alien. They injected him with like E. coli or something. They injected him with a virus of some sort or a bacteria of some sort, and he literally thought it, and they tracked it like radiation or something, and they saw his like white blood cells attack it. Because, dude, I'm not even fucking kidding. There's a study, you can read it, watch him. He is nuts. But he does this breathing method, and it's like a meditative breathing method. And he like goes into cold. He's the cold guy. He's the ice guy. He climbs mountains in shorts. But he does this breathing method, and he meditates so hard that he taps into his like nervous system, or like his innate brain, and can like control it. It's fucking weird. And how he's not being studied more and more and more is beyond me.
Well, that's because that's potential. They don't want you to know.
Potential, and we talked about work. You don't want to work. This dude wakes up and just starts breathing. like his exercise is breathing, right? So like, I don't know. There's so many possibilities for shit. And that's why I don't knock anything anymore. Like even like somebody told me, take your shoes off and put your bare feet on grass. It's supposed to ground you to the earth. Okay. I mean, for centuries, millennia, we didn't have shoes. We were always grounded to the earth. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to fasting because we didn't have 3, 4, 5 meals 7 days a week. Maybe there's stuff that's released that evolutionarily helped us get here, and we don't get it anymore. Like a baby having stuff that it runs out of or doesn't need anymore by the time it's old or older. There's crazy shit, and there's like, we're losing that because we think we're so fucking smart now. We can't do what they did, right? The hunters and gatherers. But then you look at, have you ever heard of Göbekli Tepe? So that it's a place that was purposely buried 12,000 years ago. It was a city that was like preserved and buried like a time capsule. Like the year 2000, did you ever bury something going to go back and open in 20 years? So it seems like that. But there's monoliths in there, stone monoliths that are like 50 feet tall. And they have like animals in them that are in the relief of the stone. So they're not cut out of the stone. The rest of the monolith is reliefed around that. So it's like 3D out.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're talking 12,000 years ago. And they believe that that's where agriculture started.
No, aliens did that.
So there's actually the theory behind it is pretty dope, because there was ice caps over America, right? And there's thought that, at least this is the theory that somebody has, that a comet hit the ice caps, it suddenly raised the ocean 400 feet, and the people that survived had to go find somewhere to live, obviously. So however long it took, they eventually made their way to and found hunters and gatherers, because the way it's put is that there was a transfer of information. It's not like that all of a sudden they got it right. One day they were growing food, or one day they weren't growing food, and the next day they were. The next day all of a sudden they had like plots of land, they said. So it was like a transfer of knowledge. So it would be like if somebody from Europe had to travel here and they taught us cuisine, right? Oh, well, we ran out of this, but we ran out of that in Europe in 2,000 years ago, so we've never cooked with that anyway. Here, let me show you how to do it. Right? A transfer of knowledge, not just like a learning experience. So it's just a crazy theory, but it was 12,000 years ago.
That's crazy.
And humans were around then. So like humans have been around for 100,000 years, they believe. At least that's like, they've dated some stuff further, but there's no like evidence that it was really humans. But they found like flint tips that are like 190,000 years old.
Like for starting fire?
No, for like hunting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you want to talk about evolution. right? There's a lot of stuff that could have happened in 200,000 fucking years.
Yeah, and isn't it crazy that's only like 15 minutes of time on that time scale they show? So some of the things that trip me up are like, how come comets don't hit us anymore?
Jupiter.
Oh, it blocks from the
Jupiter has such a strong gravitational pull that
that just happened over time.
Yeah,
it got stronger over time.
No, but the second theory to that same kind of like the dominoes falling is that a comet hit the sun and caused crazy lightning storms that sent people back into caves. And that's why we were cave people for a while again. That's why there's cave paintings in Spain that match cave paintings in like Mexico and Arizona that match cave paintings in like Russia, because they believe that they saw the northern lights because of magnetic storm from the sun. So that's another theory, right? But there was a comet that hit Jupiter in like 94. Schumacher-Levy, it was called. And it was a huge comet that hit Jupiter. It flew by Earth. So Jupiter's gravitational pull is so strong that it's like our deterrent.
Does it help keep that like asteroid belt intact?
I think it does.
Because that's like between Mars and Jupiter.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's between Mars and Jupiter. I think it's like obviously I think it's Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, asteroid belt, Jupiter, Saturn.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got
Neptune.
you. Yeah, space is crazy, dude. It fascinates me more than anything. Like, have you ever seen the Milky Way? Have you ever seen like the gas cloud? No, like with your eyes, like at night.
What do you mean?
Like looking up at the stars. Have you ever seen the gas cloud in the sky?
Oh, where the fuck have you seen that?
Up north, dude, where there's no lights for miles.
You can't see that shit over here,
dog. That is so. Like after seeing that, like that's the only thing I ever want to see again.
So you think so you're I can't believe I'm going to say this. You're on the team that space is real. Because I told you I've had conversations with people that don't think space is real.
I am on team space, dude. I am on team space. Space is real to me.
So do you think we've been on the moon?
I don't know. Because so I heard an argument, right? That's like, what would it take for you to believe that? Just what would it take for you to believe that we've been to the moon?
I believe it.
Okay, but like just hypothetically, what would it take? If you didn't believe, what would it take? What's the evidence you need to see?
Maybe a picture from the moon of Earth.
Okay, so we have that.
Okay,
right. So then
people just complain about the flag, but not moving.
Yeah,
or moving.
It
shouldn't have been.
Yes. So, but that's the thing, right? Is like somebody can prove why that happened.
Yeah.
We've had that. So if that's the proof, here's the proof of why that could happen. Then your argument should be
and then some people argue like, why haven't we been back? Like, but then the counter argument, why do we need to go back?
See, I think we have, and we found some shit.
And that's why we're not going back.
Well, that's why we keep it on the hush hush.
Oh,
yeah. But until Elon came around, it was so fucking expensive to go back.
Yeah,
because we dumped half of it in space or into the ocean and had to get destroyed every time.
Yeah,
there's like a conspiracy about that. That like, so they make like the left wing of the space shuttle in Texas. They make like the right wing of the space shuttle in Kansas. They make the tail wing in Florida. They make the engine in Nebraska. But they've stimulated so much of the economy through doing these and they can't shut it down. And it's just a waste of money because every time we shoot one up, every time NASA shoots one up, it never comes back.
And Elon's
come back every fucking time, it seems like. So he has made space travel that much cheaper.
Yeah.
And that much more like whatever. So like there's just the government is funny in doing things like that, right? Like, well, we can't shut down the coal or we can't shut down gas. We can't shut down this, right? Because look at how much of the economy it stimulates. So yeah, I don't know. You could that's why conspiracies are fun because you can think of almost anything.
Yeah. You can twist it however you want.
Whatever way you want that day, right? Whatever you're feeling. So, but yeah, I do believe space is real, and I think honestly, there should be a holiday that you turn off every light, electricity everywhere in the world or everywhere
to see all the stars.
Yes, because I think we are robbing ourselves of the best show, the most humbling show there is every night. Imagine going out and seeing stars that are so far away they might not be there anymore because the light is taking so long to travel here.
Yeah.
Right? Like how big would you feel? Right? Because that's what we used to see every night. People used to worship that every night because it was so fascinating. Like I said, so I've seen the gas cloud of the Milky Way. You could fucking see it, dude. It was tear jerking. It was such an awesome, literal awesome event to see. And I'm looking at it and I was hypnotized. So like there was something, it was like innate. There was something about, it's just like sitting around a fire with people. There's something about that. We used to do that, right? As humans, evolutionarily. There's something about sitting around a fire with people. There's something about listening to music with people you love. There's things that we've done for so long as humans that just feel different.
Yeah.
That feel so good. Like these talks. We always talk about them after we feel high. It's a great feeling because humans we're a storytelling animal.
Yeah.
We're a talkative animal. We're a social animal. To the point where isolation is the worst thing you can do to somebody in prison.
It was. I was gonna say for lockdowns,
but look at what happened there. Suicide was killing more people than COVID.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Is that a real thing?
Yes. It was only for I should say it was only.
It was like a time frame.
For what I remember, it was a couple of months after like the initial thing. When it started setting in that we weren't getting out, suicide was killing more people per month than COVID. Because if you remember, they stopped reporting on deaths and started reporting on cases because deaths started going down, but cases started going up. So how do we keep you scared?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, for real though, I don't give a fuck if cases are going up. If cases are going up, that's great. Because if more and more people are getting it and less people are dying, that widens the ratio.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, why, what the fuck? Why weren't people like excited about that? People were more and more scared because cases were going up. That was this. We're gonna look back on this.
I think it was like one of the biggest social experiments ever.
Yes. In 40 years, we're gonna look back at this, and something's gonna have come out for sure. Because like, do you remember?
Stuff is coming out now about it.
Do you remember when Facebook even admitted to it that like one of the first like filters you could put over a picture, like whether it be the rainbow for Pride Month or a flag for something, right? One of the first times they did it, they said it was an experiment, and the experiment proved that social media has a lot of influence on how you want to be viewed because almost everybody did it because it was like the first one.
Yeah.
And then when that came out, I remember feeling so cheated and so manipulated. I was like, fuck, I'll never do that again. Right. And then, but like, there's a lot of times that I slipped up and did it again.
Yeah. It is a big thing because like so many people are so worried about how people look at them and not even just look at them, but how people like think about you. Like, so like if everybody's doing something on social media and you're that oddball out that's not doing it, it doesn't necessarily mean you're against whatever it is. Right. It just, maybe you just didn't do it, but you're influenced more to do it, to follow the crowd, because then you fit back into that. I think that's where social media gets dangerous.
That's why sharing, like if somebody shares your story or your thing, sharing that they shared it gets more people to jump on board and share your story.
So like you share my story,
yes,
and then I share that you shared my story.
Correct.
And then more people following me are going to say, oh, Clark did that.
Well, or Dom is sharing everybody that posts it. And then that's when people start tagging people in their stories.
Because they want to be shared. They want to be in that realm of stuff. I mean, we've talked about like how people overly tag just for that reason. I
think it gets dangerous when people are lying to themselves about that. Right?
Because if I'm not doing this because of
that. That's when it gets dangerous, because now we've hit like an identity crisis. Because all you got to say is, yeah, I did that. I wanted to be shared on this page. And then what? Who cares? We know that that's the thing anyway. It's almost more gross for you to tell me no, and I know, than you to just say that. Because now what? Now I'm the asshole for judging you?
Yeah.
Right? Because you've committed. You know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm posting my ass talking about my new hat because I want attention or because I want more likes, right? That makes me the asshole then. You already know. Okay, shit. Do you then?
Yeah.
Right? But people who like John and Kay, they commit. They just go. They just post. They're not doing nothing. Boom. And look at them. John's growing like fucking wildfire.
He's over 100,000 followers.
Did he get it to it?
He's at 106.
Dude, good for him.
Yeah.
He looked great. Nationals is going on right now, right? Junior
He
Nationals.
competed yesterday. Girls are today.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. I just think that's where social media gets like very, and I think social, not even just, I think we see it more because social media in the fitness space is even worse.
It's gross.
Like just regular social media, like my dad's page, like
Right.
no, obviously not. But it's like when you're in this community of, I guess you could call it a community
Bubble.
It's like a bubble.
bubble.
That's a good word. Like this bubble of social media. Like people pay attention. Like
100%.
I know people reach out to me and tell me things about things I've posted that one either don't even follow me or don't like or don't like do any of that, but they're always paying attention.
Yes.
That's why I think it's more of a bubble where like, cause like the guy four friends away from me still somehow sees my stuff and then people who worry about that kind of stuff, that's where they get really like, I have to fit into whatever's the main thing right now. I have to make sure I'm following the narrative everybody else is following. I can't go against that because they just want that approval. And honestly, they just want that follow.
Yeah. And I think I had it lucky because I got into the gym solo. I didn't like have friends that were in the gym.
Yeah, me too.
Right? So my friends, my like really close friends before making gym friends, they don't like my shit. They don't share my shit.
Half my like friends growing up with probably don't even follow me.
Right. And it's funny because like when I went out to Vegas with all of them, they all knew what was going on. You know, so they're watching, which is dope. That's all I care about, if anything. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that you're paying attention, that's dope. I appreciate it. It's like I'm honored that you gave me any bit of your attention. To me, that means more to me than somebody who likes it and then says it like on a throwback because they didn't read anything. They're like, "Oh, you look great right now." Bitch, that's 7 months ago. I don't look like that right now, right? Like somebody posted, I just posted yesterday, the throwback, and somebody's like, "You're looking great." I'm gonna be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. But at the end of the day, it's whatever. You took the time to say something. You took that. People should feel honored, right? So we were talking, we get an average of what, 100 people listening to each one?
No, it's like 200.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that best man speech I had to give was in front of like 200, 250 people. I promise you that's a lot of people, right? I promise you that's a big room.
Yeah.
If we were to do this in front of those, you know, it would feel more. But then you see people that have views that are in like the hundreds of thousands and you're like, oh, what if, right?
Yeah.
But like to give a speech in front of 100,000 people, I'd be puking every other word, right? So like, it's kind of funny because you and I will never feel pressure because we've done this so much. We talk. It's just a conversation in front of this thing. But like talking to somebody, like I was trying to get somebody on with us and he was like, I can't talk in front of a camera. And it's like, man, like it's not bad. It's just a conversation.
No, you just forget it's even there.
And that's what I said. I go, man, 30 seconds into it, you're going to forget it's there.
Yeah, because you're just talking.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I gonna say?
I'm so sorry.
No, I know.
I've been rambling, dude.
It's good. It's good. I like
rambling.
it. Oh my God, what was I gonna say? Oh, like you were talking about friends who like weren't part of the fitness bubble, right? How they don't pay attention, right? I think that's just a good reminder for everybody because to just show you people don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't care what you do.
No.
Like a lot of people are very, I don't want to call it self-centered, but like they just don't give a fuck what you do, what you have, what any of that is.
You are not the main character in everybody's story.
No.
Not everybody focuses on you with the same intent that you focus on other people.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one too, is our like biggest insecurities are our loudest, like what we go against, right? Because like for me, I have like a disdain, I shouldn't, but I do, for lazy people, for like people, like for lack of a better term, but like people that we know could do better if they just try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm a lazy person. So like when I see it in other people, I don't want to see it in myself. So it makes me mad. And I know that's just insecurity on my own part, right? But I can at least admit that, and I can calm myself down because I'm like, all right, I just don't want to see that in myself. Like, stop judging them. It is what it is. But then also I'm like, you know, stop fucking eating like that, bro. Like, what the fuck, dude? Because it's just like that one, like that thought of like, if I did it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I know that because I'm a piece of shit. So if I did it, I promise you can do it. Like, I promise anybody can do what I've done, right? Like, that's why I don't feel special about anything. I feel like an imposter when people ask me like, hey, how do I'm like, why are you asking me? I have to ask somebody else who might have to ask somebody else, right? Like, I don't even know what to say anymore. That's why when people I look up to follow me, it scares the shit out of me.
Why?
Because I don't want to be a dummy, bro. Like, George Lockhart followed me.
That's your imposter syndrome. That's imposter syndrome.
Yeah, but it's imposter syndrome for a good reason. I'm an imposter in this industry. Like, I'm a fucking idiot.
You're not an imposter.
So
how are you hang on, hold up. How are you an imposter in this industry? What are you an imposter about? Dude, there's some really fucking stupid people.
Because I don't have anything to hang my hat on. I've never done anything in this industry.
Why? Look at what you've done to your body.
That's fair, but that's
work. That's experience.
Yes, but it's not enough to say some of the dumb shit I say.
Do you think Nick Saban went to coaching school? Like,
no, but
his experience got him there.
National titles, bro.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
no, I get you.
Experience takes you far away, and I was in the camp for a while that experience didn't matter because I was like so heavily focused in school, and I thought, oh, the book is the book. Like,
right. Well, we talked about that with Joey last week.
And I've if I would sit down myself 4 years ago, we would have a weird conversation because I would be telling myself, hey, you need to let that shit go because experience takes you far away.
Right.
On top of knowing, so use both to your advantage, kind of thing. So, but with like, I don't know, you calling yourself an imposter is pretty stupid. You know a lot of fucking shit.
But then I talk to you and I feel like I don't know anything, and that's kind of where it comes from.
Yeah, but then I talk to people and I feel like that too.
I know, but
that's just that's the food chain, dude.
Right. Yeah, that is, and but that's one of those things where I know so much, I know nothing. Right? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Because you find out, you learn so much shit. Because like I've taken in a lot of information. I know a lot of shit, but I know so much shit that I know if I know this much shit, and there's much more to learn, I know nothing. Right? Like I know this much of what there is. Right? I can do shit. I can make you gain muscle. I can, have you lose weight, but you can do it better than me, and then there's somebody that may be able to do it better than you.
I can, yeah.
So when that happens to me, it makes me cower away. I don't want to sound dumb. If that's a defense mechanism, an insecurity, whatever it is.
I think that's just human.
But like, I haven't posted anything about nutrition since cancer. Because like that to me wiped away everything I could stand on. Because here I am talking this shit about getting healthy, this shit about fasting, this shit about red meat, and then I have cancer. So to me, that wipes away all credibility, all validity, and everything that I had to say. But that's just how I am. Somebody might still ask me questions and learn, and it is what it is. But to me, like, I'm like, fuck, but like, I guess I just hold myself to a higher standard.
Yeah, I get it, but I don't. I get it because like I hold myself at a high standard too, and like, but what should a bad peak stop me from talking about how to peak somebody?
Right, that's fair. I've
had way more good ones than I have had bad ones.
Right.
So and it's something that I'm improving on. So it's like, is is because I have a bad peak with an athlete a reason why I should never talk about peaking again?
Right.
No, it's not. Because you obviously changed your health in a big way with your dieting, with how you did that. Just because you got cancer, which probably had nothing to do with your diet,
Right, yeah,
doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about it.
I know. And, but where I was coming from with that mostly is like George Lockhart. If people don't know, that's Conor McGregor, Tyson Fury. He does their nutrition. He had a Rogan episode, and I based that orange juice drink that I do off of that episode and off of his recipe on there, because he talks about uptaking glycogen faster. And then if like, so it goes like, it's fructose, dextrose, and salt, and they all stimulate different glucose transporters.
Yeah.
So he was talking about arbitrarily, let's say you uptake 1 gram of carb per minute. You digest, uptake, stores glycogen, 1 gram of carb per minute. After that drink, it was shown to be 3 to 4 grams of carbs per minute, because you're stimulating.
You open up more channels.
Yes.
You open up more dams to the flood.
Yes. And then if you pair it with caffeine, with muscle biopsies, they're showing this, right? If you pair it up with caffeine, it quadruples those numbers.
Wow.
So now you're talking about 12 to 16 grams of carbs a minute, and normally you're doing 1. That's superhuman shit.
Yeah. I mean,
realistically,
that's what like biohacking is.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
he talks about that, and he talks about it also helping with like hydration, because like that's what he has them do immediately after weigh-ins, right? Because a lot of weigh-ins,
So orange juice, dextrose, and salt.
25 grams or so, eight ounces of orange juice,
25 grams of dextrose.
50 grams,
50
of dextrose,
grams of dextrose,
and then a gram of salt.
yeah.
Yeah.
A gram of salt's a lot.
Dude, I would do.
It's probably
I was doing like
salty.
1.5 grams, 2 grams. I love salt. I love it.
I do too. Where did I hear this? Something about salt. If you eat salt, the saltier it tastes,
the more you need it, right?
no, the more. Yes, no, the more
Salt
the
to
more
taste.
the more you have stored already. So if you can't taste the salt, that means you need more salt.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that, or it's vice versa.
Because I heard like salt to taste has like a meaning, because that's like how much you need.
Yeah, it might be that then.
Yeah.
It might be the other way around.
If you crave salt, you like
if you
need
can't
it.
taste the salt, you need more.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. It's pretty interesting.
Talk about evolution, right? That would be a evolutionary marker, because you need salts.
Yeah.
You know, the high blood pressure, like stay away from salt shit. That's not that. It's stay away from salt and then like sit on your ass.
Dozen Krispy Kremes.
Yeah. But like if you have salt and then your body uses it to like rehydrate you or replenish
People
yourself.
it's so many transporters on your cell membranes need sodium to bind to them to even open.
Oh yeah. Well, how about people would cut salt before shows?
Yeah, and then they'd wonder why they like they wouldn't respond to carbs, and they'd get bloated and like they would look watery, is because of that. Because yeah, glucose can move with insulin and just by itself, but there's a bunch of channels that require sodium to bind to help that glucose come in too. So
Right.
that helps. It helps absorb a lot of stuff,
Right.
not just. And then all the gradient, like just potassium, sodium channels, like all that, like you have to have salt in your diet. When people like, I don't have it doesn't really happen anymore, but like it did a couple of years ago. People would be like, "What do you mean I have to salt all my food?" And I'm like, "You have to salt all your food." Like with table salt? No, not with that shit. Like get some real salt.
Yeah, get pink Himalayan.
Get some Himalayan,
salt,
Icelandic.
yeah.
I don't care what it is, as long as it's not that.
Right, you're right.
As long as it's not kosher table salt.
Right. Right. Yeah, salt I feel like is a performance enhancing drug that nobody really talks about. You know, because like if you put it in your pre-workout, I feel pumps like crazy.
Yeah.
I put a lot in my pre-workout too, a lot, and I love it.
Do the average athlete, I think, like it's dependent on body weight, but like somebody like your body weight, you're supposed to, because your activity, you're supposed to have like 5 to 6 grams.
Grams, yes.
That's 5,000 to 6,000
Right.
milligrams.
Grams. Yeah, I actually there was a trainer who was a trainer with me and G. He was on the vertical diet, and the vertical diet
is all salt.
All salt. This
Yeah.
dude was at 7 to 10 grams of salt a day, but he was doing 2-a-days, and he was training like an athlete.
Yeah, because
He was sweating. He was jumping around.
He's depleting a lot of that stuff.
Exactly. And I was talking, these guys at work, they were like, bro, we want to cook you dinner. We want to watch a hockey game with you, but we want to pick your brain if that's cool with you. And I was like, about what? And they're like, we want to pick your brain about growing, but we mostly want to pick your brain about working out. And I was like, bro, yes, you grill up some steaks. I will come over, no problem, and talk to you. You can ask me whatever the fuck you want. I go, but when you ask me, understand I'm going to make it so simple that you're going to be like, what? Right? Because it's all purpose. If you want to train like an athlete, if you want to be an athlete, we're going to do athletic shit. If you want to look like a bodybuilder, we're going to do bodybuilding shit.
Yeah.
If you want to be strong, we're going to be doing strength training shit. Right? I think people get complicated or think it's complicated because they want to do what homie's doing over here, but look like Phil Heath. You know, like how many people do you see do cardio in between sets? Like jump rope in between sets.
Yeah.
But no pro ever does that. Nobody.
And little do they know that little bit of cardio they're doing is making their next set less performance-wise, so that is less stimulating now.
Exactly. I learned. So when I realized what creatine did, like creatine, like
in the body,
just essentially like the sense of like what taking creatine does, like helps you with the next workout, right? Then the next workout, or I shouldn't say just creatine, but like nutrients in general, right? You're replenishing yourself for tomorrow's session. When I started realizing that and realizing like steroids even, they're for recovery. They help you recover at superhuman levels, right? Some are obviously going to have more strength and more this, but like really what it's doing is helping you recover at a level you've never recovered at before. Yeah. So like when I realized you're basically eating for tomorrow.
Yeah, essentially you do.
Yeah, that's why now so the day before my rest day, I've been intaking a little bit of less carbs. Because I know tomorrow I'm just going to rest. Yeah. But then on my rest day, I eat those
like
carbs
the day
again.
Before a leg day.
Yes.
Like people always ask me, should I have my high day on a workout day? No, you should have your high day on a rest day before you're going to train the next day.
Yes.
And a bunch of reasons why, right? You're recovering on your rest day. So why not let that, for performance-wise, why not let that be your highest food day? Right? Your rest day is your highest food day.
And that's when people want to cut calories.
And that's when people are like, no, we got to pull back. I'm not burning shit. I'm not doing this. But like,
even me. Yeah. I did that too.
Yeah. But like a lot of it comes to like a big one is dietary stress relief. Like why we put high days on rest days, or why I do, why Cam does, like why a bunch of guys I know do, is to relieve your body of that stress the diet is causing. Because it's inevitable. As calories come down, your body says, well, what the fuck's going on? I need to slow down this metabolism, right? That's why you see the thyroid come down, activity, like you see it down regulate. It's because the body's like, where's all these calories at that I used to get? Now I'm not getting them. We need to slow shit down because I'm going to be burning up shit too fast.
All your body wants to do is survive.
Yeah. So then that day you're resting, where like you're not doing cardio, you're not training, you're just kind of not sedentary, but you're not doing that activity. Let that be that highest food day, because then your body's like, oh, we're not burning as many calories today. We're eating a good amount of calories today. We don't need to slow down the metabolism.
Right.
That's as simple as I can explain that.
Right.
But essentially that's what those days are for. It's to really relieve the body of like that constant dieting stress. That's why I tell people on rest days, don't do your cardio and eat. And I try to put their high days on those days. Obviously, if they're like, they're situational, but like I try to put high days on rest days and no cardio on those days. So that day is like literally just for recovering. Because I think fatigue management is one thing. It's gotten a lot popular like in our sport. And you're seeing better like outcomes like with preps because of that. That we kind of forgot. It was just like go. But how much like pulling back actually helps is actually pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, my legs always look better if I skip a leg day, right? Yeah. Because then they weren't stressed.
Well, like that's a big reason why like before a show, you're not supposed to do legs. Like,
right.
You're not supposed to do hard leg workouts before a week before a show. You're not supposed to be doing hard cardio a week before a show. Most of my people, if their legs are part of what they're getting judged on, 10 to 7 days out's their last leg day. they're not doing legs again until after the show.
Right.
Their cardio is minuscule at best by 5 days out. 5 days out forward, there's no cardio, just because those legs need to rest.
Right.
People don't realize how much rest actually helps. Peak week for a show isn't about pushing that last week. That is your recovery, de-stressing week. If you can make that as stressless as possible, you'll have the best physique on that Saturday.
It makes a lot of sense, man. Stress fucking kills.
Oh,
it kills
stress
everything.
is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like big shout out to Cusano. He's taught me so much about how impactful stress is, and it's fucking crazy. Your body can get so adaptive to stress that it causes GI responses.
In what way?
That your GI goes to shit because you're so stressed.
Oh, got you.
That's why like people with IBS, like pretty bad IBS, when they're stressed, their IBS is at
flares up.
Peak. It's because your stress on your body, that's your body's way of dealing with it. That's the symptom that you get. It can stimulate those kind of things. So pair that with like all the other shit that goes on. Like stress is fucked up.
Stress is fucked up, dude.
And there's mental, emotional, and physical. There's 3 different kinds of stress, in my opinion. You can be mentally stressed just from like work. Then there's emotional, like with intimacy and relationships. And then there's physical, like going to the gym, all those kind of things. All that accumulated together, dude, that's a lot for your body to kind of handle.
Absolutely.
Like I see a lot of people now, like when we do blood work and we check for like cortisol levels, like I see them so low. And low cortisol is a sign that person has been so chronically stressed for so long that their adrenals just don't even like respond much anymore. And that just that's a host of bad things that can happen. It's called adrenal insufficiency. So like that cortisol response you're supposed to feel when you wake up isn't happening. So they're feeling tired, and they feel like this tired but wired feeling all day long. And it's because like they're functioning off adrenaline pretty much.
That's crazy.
Like their body is constantly in that fight or flight mode,
right?
Because it's not responding the way it should. So like I've been seeing that a lot lately with blood work, is like these like 5-4 cortisols, which are like really pretty. Those are pretty low cortisols, and you talk to them a little bit, you find out issues at home, issues at work. Over dieting, over training, and it's just doing that constantly over and over and over and over and over, and it makes a bad situation, because that's like a 6 to 12 month recovery phase. You want to get your adrenals back. We're not gaining weight, we're not losing fat, we're not doing anything for 6 to 12 months, and then we can probably start. But that's the big turnoff though, dude. Like right. I've started taking this healthier approach with everybody. And like really focusing on those things, and like I've lost clients because of it, because they don't want to do that. They don't want to wait a year to fix their hormones, to fix things, because that coach over there will tell them, "Hey, come on, I'll get you in show the end of the year." Right. But I won't. I've came to this ethical point where I can't do that anymore.
That's good though.
And I used to.
Right.
I used to not even think twice about those things. Push them, kill them, do whatever I had to do to get them on stage. But now I'm just so like, I don't know. I think having a kid opened my eyes up for other people to guide them how I would want to be guided.
Right
now, like I don't have that push the envelope mentality that much anymore. And I don't think it's a bad thing though, because some of my athletes have looked the best they've looked. And I think it's because that we aren't pushing the envelope how we would have.
You're very stress-free. You're very, how can we make this convenient?
Like not picking show dates. Like doing that to somebody is like, let's just diet.
Right.
Once I think you're 6 to 7 weeks out, we'll pick a show.
Right.
And like it's such a stress-free thing. They feel good.
They don't have to think about that. Yeah, because having a deadline is stressful as fuck.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. I wait till the last fucking minute on anything I can, and that just creates so much stress for me. But I believe in pressure creates diamonds. So
no, I
can't do it with bodybuilding, obviously. That's not the best route, but like with anything else.
No, I think pressure is great. Like I work the best under pressure.
Yeah.
But like I think like my mentality with coaching has changed just because like,
well, and we're talking about something else too. We're talking about the body's response to pressure.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, but like even when it comes to the guys and girls that I coach now, like I'm so focused on their longevity health than I am just getting them
to
on
stage.
stage now. And it did, like, I've lost clients because of it. Like,
Right.
but in my opinion, that's fine because we didn't see eye to eye on it. Go ahead, do your thing.
Right.
You know, I wish you all the best.
You're just
probably not going to
fine-tuning.
look good, but you know, I'm telling you the stuff that you need to hear, but don't want to hear.
Right.
You know, and like Cusano's the same way. Like, he has people who just drop because they don't want to do it at 3-month, 5-month health phase to maybe diet at the end of it.
Right.
To
right.
maybe your
To
blood work looks
maybe.
good.
Yeah.
You know, so but that's just how I've been. I don't know. That's how it's been now.
Yeah. I mean, there's too much.
I know people will thank me at the end of the day, like 10 years from now.
Oh yeah.
They'll be like, you know what? It was probably better the way we did things now that I'm done with this, because people need to realize that you are not going to be a competitive bodybuilder for 20 fucking years.
No, it's not that sport.
Yeah, no, it's not. And if you already aren't at the top right now, you're not going to be that long in the game.
No.
You know,
There's only so
know,
far.
You would know right now where you would belong in the bodybuilding competitive world if you were that good to be in it for 20 years.
Right.
You know, look at Dexter. Look
Right.
at those guys. Like, yes, 20, 30 years competitively, but we all knew that when they were 19.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like where like a lot of that comes from. So, and I think, I mean, I've noticed it. I'm sure you have too, like how many coaches now kind of talk about like there's a life after bodybuilding. Like, that's a pretty like kind of topic that gets brought up a good bit now.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah. And you see a lot more functional health like coaches, functional health like programs coming up now, because like coaches are starting to offer like, hey, you killed your body for 10 years. We need to fix it.
Right.
You know, and that's what Matt does. Matt does a lot of that. So like that's a cool thing that I'm seeing a lot now. Like I love competitors. I die for it, right? Like yesterday I was glued just watching junior nationals, like, and I didn't have anybody competing.
Right.
And I was just so invested in it because I just love it. Like, it gets me going.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime we go to a show, I leave there and
Dude,
I
I was
wanna
backstage
train.
like at that Michigan show, and I was like clapping. Like, I was just so hyped up just being back there.
Right.
So I love it, but I need to look out for my athletes at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a must.
But if that's not what they want, go ahead. You know, there's a coach every fucking block now.
Yeah.
So like, I'm
Somebody
sure
will
you'll
do
find
it.
somebody that is going to give you what you want. It might not be the best thing for you, but just know, like, my decisions always have the best intentions for them. Which obviously, yeah, it's not going to be eye to eye with everybody.
I was going to say, a lot of people don't like other people making that call for them.
No, like the last person to leave me recently, that was the issue. It was, hey, we need to focus on your hormones and not worry about a show at the end of the year. Like, you were being a little unrealistic with the progress you thought you were going to make when your hormones were in the gutter.
Right.
And that wasn't what they wanted to hear, right? They told me, "Oh, this isn't very encouraging." And I was like, "Look, I'm not trying to be encouraging. I'm trying to be realistic. Like, I'm not going to feed into your unreality, right? I'm not going to feed into your delusion. That's not me. But a lot of coaches will. But those are the coaches that kind of fizzle out over time.
Yeah, and maybe they'll evolve.
Yeah,
right? Maybe
might.
they just need somebody on their roster and they need to get that clout or whatever up to prove that they can, like, hey, if you wait with me, I can get you on stage.
Yeah.
I think that's something that you have, though. You have that confidence that you know you can make them look good as long as everything else lines up health-wise.
Yeah.
Then we can run with it. But until then, I'm not letting you run with it. We're not just going blind.
I mean, dude, it's a pretty crazy thing to really think about. And like essentially, like, with advice, right? Advice I give, obviously you could put two and two together when I say advice. Like, am I killing somebody?
Right.
You know, like, am I pushing them to the point where, like, am I shortening their lifespan at that point? That's a big thing that it's like, that's a talk I've had with a few coaches now where, like, it's like, that's why now it's like I have such a health first approach when it comes to it. I need to make sure that whatever we're doing, we can fix it after.
Right.
Because that's what I want.
You don't want to be aiding in somebody's, like, suicide.
Pretty much.
Just because they're go hard.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about that. I'll take
you don't
Trent
now.
for
Give it
15
5
weeks.
years and you're gonna, bro.
Yeah. I'll take Trent for 15 weeks, bro. I don't give a fuck. Like, no, that's not you.
No.
You're not that person.
Uh-oh.
What just happened?
I don't know.
We run out of space on the camera again?
It's getting too hot.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, it's just me and Dom anyway today. So we got to save this temp stuff.
Yes.
We were supposed to have somebody on, but unfortunately they had to cancel due to family issues. So hopefully everything gets worked out with that. We'll have him on eventually. But next week we have Mark Sample coming on.
Yes.
Which
the
will be
natty daddy.
The natty daddy for sure. For sure. The best natural body in probably Michigan, if I had to guess. But I asked him once, I'm like, why do you stay natural? And he's like, I want to take it as far as I can naturally. And I'm like, okay, you win. Now let me put a needle in you. That's what I say to him every time. So I can't wait to talk to him. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can help break him out of his little, he's such a nice fucking guy. He's such a fucking nice guy. I want him to get cocky.
I haven't really talked to him like that.
I want to have him get cocky just once. Just once, I want to hear him get cocky. Because, like, you can tell him whatever you want, and then he'll be like, no, that's all you. And you're like, bro, just shut the fuck up for 1 second. Take the compliment. But, no, I'm excited to talk to him. Somebody did reach out and ask to be on, and I just ignored it. Completely ignored it. But, yeah, don't do that. I changed my mind. Don't ask.
You wanted people to ask.
I know. That was my bad. Please don't ask.
All right. Well, we're wrapping it up today. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys have any suggestions of people you'd like to see or anything, topic-wise you'd like us to touch on, let us know. We appreciate the support, the likes, the subscribes, all the shares. And we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.